What's up, Cardano community? My name's Tabs. I am Process Infrastructure Lead at Prisma, and we organise action learning journeys. And in Catalyst Fund 13, we submitted a proposal to organise a hackathon in Accra, in Ghana, in partnership with WADA, who are awesome, who you know. And this hackathon was hosted by the on-the-ground hub called Accra Resource Centre, who are also awesome. Action learning journeys are a multi-stakeholder alignment process, and we use multiple processes to organize that journey. Each process has a dedicated process designer who are committed to facilitating these different energies into an intensive at the end of that multi-week alignment process. And an intensive is basically like a hackathon. In this intensive, 3 teams formed. Each team was addressing a systemic challenge by making a software prototype as an intervention into that system of their locality, which they had identified by observing their systems, by walking their neighborhoods, which was part of the program design that we'd put into this. And each software prototype is a real-world use case of Cardano being applied on the ground to unlock new capabilities in those communities. We had no idea what this would look like because everything had been designed to create the conditions for emergence, for those teams that formed to organize themselves and decide for themselves what it meant to be working on those systems. So now let's hear from a representative from each team.
When I came, it wasn't a specific agenda that we came to do here. It wasn't the kind of Ghanaian education setting or the typical hackathon where you just have something that you are all leading to. It was an open space, a space where we can interact with each other, open our minds, think freely, and come up with ideas and solutions to them. And it was coupled with a trip to a place called Dream Village, where we also learned a lot of things from that side. We learned from Big C, Clement, I call him Big C, where he showed us how we can come up with ideas and make impact of it at the very moment we are coming up with ideas, which is something we are not used to. So all this and the journey we came through, we started our hackathon and we came up with a project where we can help community people, especially our friends who are battling with addictions, to interact with counselors, spiritual people, to help them come through their ailments. So we come up with a platform where they can just jump on, text, and then the counselor or a mentor or any spiritual person can also reply to that person to help him or her come out of that situation. And my key takeaway is that any idea that you have, you should make sure that you come up with the idea. If it's a group of people you can come together with them, build something small, anything, and just make an impact on it.
I'm Echo Harden, and fun fact, I have no technical skills. I've been to several hackathons, but getting to know about this has actually changed my perspective about how hackathons should actually work. So more than often, in a space where you are working towards a project, it's usually build, go back, build. But I realized that that's actually one part of the story. A bigger part of the story actually has to do with being in a team, collaborating, and also working with those who are actually going to use your solution at the end of the day. I remember the first week I entered this space, our first self-organizing project. It was quite interesting and it didn't make sense because it was not, should I say, normal towards Ghanaians. But once we were done with it, I actually got to understand why you had to self-organize to make this. In our projects, for instance, most of our members have had to also had several staff to attend to, and because of that there had been a lot of compromising, and we didn't just give up because we realized that this one was not available. There was always someone somewhere showing up to this, and I believe that through that self-organizing project and action learning journey, that's where all this inspiration came up to. My team, for instance, is working on a carpooling app and has to do with connecting corporate employees to bar services during rush hours too. And as I mentioned, I'm not that technical. Being able to have something down that's actually working, and we are working with our customer base to make this thing happen too. And moving forward, I would like to be a front-end developer because I get to code and also see what I'm actually working on too. And this has been a very amazing journey. Thank you.
My name is Abdurrahman, and a month ago I registered for this hackathon, which I think has changed my mindset today. Before we started this whole process, I didn't know what exactly we were going to do. I was thinking it was going to be a normal hackathon that everyone does, just coding, but it wasn't like that. It's different. There was no rules. It challenged you to find out what you can do. The process from the beginning was like, what can you do? What can you do to help your community? My community, one problem I faced was flooding. So my team and I decided to tackle that, which we saw that affects most communities in Accra. So it was what we intend to tackle. We didn't had any coding from the beginning. It was just finding solutions on how we can go about all this. And we were thinking, how can we do this? This is something that we need a government inside. We didn't realize that we can be a part of a solution that can solve this whole issue. Delving deep into this solution, we realized one of the causes of the flood was waste management system. So that's what me and my colleague tackled. And I think we've come out with a very nice approach, a very nice application, a chatbot that we think can help the community. In the near future, we'll be deploying this. So this is something very long, but I'm going to cut it short. During the process of the coding of the journey, we also had the opportunity to visit a community in the northern region, which we met a man called Clement, who has come up with his dream. He has brought something that was in his mind to the field. We made everything different, and he really inspired me talking to him. I remember I sat with him the whole night. He was just pouring a lot of knowledge at me, and I'm grateful for it. It all happened within these 2 weeks, and I'm really grateful for it.
The milestones were structured to onboard the various stakeholders into the process, including Dream Village, which was the project we went to visit in the north, run by Clement, who is an awesome guy. And we were co-designing this process together for multiple weeks, if not months, leading up to the intensive. One thing that was our overarching direction was to onboard developers into Cardano ecosystem, and as you can tell, that went very well. I've just spoken with several of the team, and they are still working on these projects now 2.5 months later. The thing that we did not deliver as strongly as we would have liked to is engaging external stakeholders, i.e. investors who could have provided a bit of seed funding to the teams. We would definitely like to do that stronger next time. And what we will be doing next is organising more action learning journeys. Thank you very much from everyone here at Prisma, and see you next time.
Day one. Okay. It's not been easy. Action learning journey.